Okay, thank you very much, Arifa. Next, we have another panel, this time with 6 guests, be led by Christopher Eames from Token Key. Christopher, you could come on stage, please. Thank you, Chris. Chris is joined by Clarence Wooten from STEAMRole.
Great. My name is Clarence Wooten. I'm founder and CEO of STEAMRole and RoleCoin. We're getting ready to do an ICO for RoleCoin. That's part of the reason why we're here. A little bit about my background. I'm a serial tech entrepreneur from Silicon Valley. I've started 5 different tech startups from the .com 1.0 era now to the crypto era. I've had 2 companies acquired, and I'm excited to be part of this whole revolution called blockchain, and I'm excited to tell you about STEAMRole and RoleCoin.
Clarence, do you want to tell us a bit about your project?
Yeah, sure.
I don't think anyone knew, and then we can talk about that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So before I talk about RoleCoin, it's important to talk about STEAMRole. STEAMRole is a mission-driven company, and our mission is to help the workforce of the future discover whom they can become and how to get there. And we do that through STEAMRole's mobile app, which is kind of like Tinder for finding your dream career. But instead of swiping for dates, you're swiping through the profiles of successful professionals with backgrounds in science, technology, engineering, design, and math. For example, you could swipe through a profile of someone who builds rockets for SpaceX or does self-driving cars for Tesla, so forth and so on. And so we're big believers that role models are missing from the ecosystem. On very rare exceptions, you cannot be what you cannot see. So we're in a very interesting age where information is widely available. We have plenty of online classes that will teach you a million different things, but inspiration and guidance is not, right? So until you see exactly what the payoff is from people who look like you with similar backgrounds and interests, you won't pursue those careers. So basically, that's what STEAMRole focuses on. Now, RoleCoin is the digital currency. We provide proof of progress for education, and we fuel the STEAMRole ecosystem. So RoleCoins are used in STEAMRole to incentivize role models to share their stories in the form of selfie-like Snapchat-style video clips and share their and provide guidance in the form of showcasing the skills required to become them. So as users learn skills on STEAMRole, they're minting RoleCoin. So we use RoleCoin within STEAMRole to incentivize the ecosystem, almost in a gamification-like play, but it's a much bigger play outside of STEAMRole. And this is where I get into proof of progress. Right now, about $100 billion is invested each year by impact investors, foundations, philanthropists, and companies into developing the workforce of the future. A good example, the Gates Foundation might give $1 million to Girls Who Code. And as of right now, there's no proof of progress. Girls Who Code has to self-report back the success of their graduates to the Gates Foundation to secure that next investment. Unfortunately, that's arduous, it's time-consuming, and there's no transparency really involved in that process. Well, RoleCoin is a digital currency that tracks and measures the skill and career development progress of its recipient. Right, so think money that you give, but you get data back. So in this case, the Gates Foundation could give Girls Who Code $1 million gift. Girls Who Code would then use maybe cash part of it in, but give the rest to their graduates to be used on STEAMRole. And as those graduates learn skills and follow role models and get recruited by companies, that data gets reported back through the blockchain to our proof of progress protocol and dashboard so that Girls Who Code can see exactly what the long-term skill and career development progress was of the recipient. And the Gates Foundation gets an aggregate view of that data. So we're really taking advantage of the blockchain's ability to provide transparency for education.
It's really interesting. So I think for me, so when I first got into this industry, one of the most exciting things for me, and I don't think we've ever been there yet, but maybe we're starting to see products go there, is this idea of really tracking leakage. You brought up impact investing funds, right? It's a very, very interesting space to figure out that if I give my, you go to the impact investing fund that have a lot of money from a lot of governments, from a lot of taxpayers. We're all, I hope, well, we all pay some form of tax, depending on where you live. But this is really interesting for me because what we're creating, and I think this probably expands to everything here, is the tracking of leakage of money. And again, capital markets, exchanges, AI, it all falls into that package. What is your strategy for your business right now that is going to allow you to scale that from going from where we are right now to the whole world using it? And will the whole world know that they're using a token, or will it just be like, you know, with Google, where I share a token for authentication when I log into my email? I don't know. Interesting. Has anyone want to dive in there?
For us, it's about increasing the utility of the token, right? So RoleCoins are utility tokens that support our mission of helping the workforce of the future discover whom they can become and how to get there. But if you can only use RoleCoin within RoleCoin to gain greater access to role models, then it's a very limited use case. You really can't call it, in our case, a digital currency that provides proof of progress. So for us, we're putting partnership deals in place. We just announced a partnership with a company called Cadenzi. They're an online learning provider that teaches STEAM-oriented class, and they have an underlying platform called Canoe, which powers online learning for over 100 universities, including Stanford, MIT, and several other big names. Well, they're going to accept RoleCoin for payment, right? And they're also plugging into our proof of progress protocol so that when you spend RoleCoin, when someone gives you RoleCoin, they're given the gift of a role model, right? And so when you spend RoleCoin to pay for classes at any of those online universities or Cadenzi, your progress is reported back to our dashboard, our proof of progress dashboard, so that whoever gave you that RoleCoin can see your long-term career and skill development progress. That's just not possible with fiat. So I think the best way to build an ecosystem is to make sure that your token has a wide use case and you have a partner ecosystem, because the blockchain is really all about building an ecosystem. Yeah. I also think you have to, in our case, we've reserved the total 1 billion tokens, 300 million of them to be minted on RoleCoin. And so on STEAMRole. So anytime a user signs up, our users we call Steamers, they're primarily between the ages of 13 and 30, right? When you're trying to figure out who you want to be and how to get there, with the real sweet spot being on college students. But anytime any of them sign up for STEAMRole, they've automatically received 5 RoleCoin. So now we've exposed an entire generation of up-and-coming students and aspiring professionals to crypto. And they can move those RoleCoins to a digital exchange and mint and mine more RoleCoins over time. So I think just making sure that it's widespread and gets great exposure, particularly if they can use those RoleCoins for greater things.
If you guys were on the partnership level, where are you currently lacking or having resistance in your individual verticals and individual industries? And where do you need certain verticals to open up to you so that you can really have access and you can not only expose their businesses to the blockchain, but you can also make sure that your businesses grow with their vital partnerships, which is so important for any business. We can't, any startup that I know, you can't really play unless you start playing with the big boys. You need the big boys or girls to help you. So where is that lacking right now? And where do you need partnerships to help that grow?
Yeah. Well, since we're about the workforce of the future and making sure they're prepared, it's really all about tapping into organizations who automatically support STEM and STEAM education, right? I mentioned Girls Who Code as one example, but there are 1,000 schools and universities that are really focused on making sure that their students have proper science, technology, engineering backgrounds, et cetera. And they need a way for those students to receive ongoing mentorship and guidance at scale. And so by partnering with those types of organizations, so I'm sure all of you in this room or each one of you have had exposure or access to at least one type organization that has that mission. Just getting the word out about RoleCoin and STEAMRole is the biggest thing. And so that's the biggest reason why we're building our community on Telegram. You can go to RoleCoin community on Telegram and help us with that mission.
If I were in this audience right now, and I want to get involved in this space, in the specific vertical we're in, why? Just give me a one-liner of why.
For a long time, access to startups was really only something that you could really get a hold of if you were an accredited investor, which you still might have to be if you're in some countries, or you are a venture capitalist. So the fact now that anyone, anywhere on the globe can invest in a startup project or idea and do it in a way that provides liquidity. I've been an angel investor for a long time. I've invested in over 40 different Silicon Valley startups throughout my career. And usually when I invest in a startup, my investment is locked up for at least 4 years, right? It's not liquid until somebody comes along, buys that company or that company goes public. If you invest in an ICO or project through the blockchain, you're liquid usually within 4 months, right? So it's a big, big difference.
What are the precautions that you're going to look to take in order to make sure that you are satisfying every single one of the thousands and thousands of people that might own your token or might then buy the token on the secondary market?
Yeah, well, for us, if you hold 100 Roll or RoleCoin or more, you have voting power over the direction of the STEAMRole platform, right? So we put that in the hands of the community, which we think is really, really important in terms of democratizing the direction that the whole community grows as it relates to what we're doing as far as proof of progress for education.
Guys, do you want to just wrap up with one sentence really about your project and why everyone here should get involved?
If you believe that the sports and entertainment industry should not have a monopoly on role models, and each one of you in this room should be a role model, then you should get involved and go to rolecoin.io.
That was impressive. That was really good. One sentence. Wow. Thank you very much, everyone. Hope you've enjoyed it. Cheers.